Look at this thing. I hate that it's getting smushed up against the bag here, but oh wow. Monday afternoon, and I am downtown at Jong Street, Bell Street, just across from Gwangjang Market. And we've got a little underground shopping center here, the Jongho Underground Shopping Center. It connects with the Jongno Oga subway station, which is just behind me there. And I've come out here because I'm going to take you on a little bit of a loop from this spot to walk through a couple of my favorite areas to walk through. And along the way, we're going to stop for lunch at one of my favorite restaurants. And we're going to wrap it up back over on the other side, the back side of Gwangjang Market there, next to Cheonggye Stream, for dessert. There's a nice little place there that I stumbled on a few weeks back that has quickly become one of my favorites. So we're gonna hit all those spots today. This street that we're on now, heading north off of Jongno, is one that in the past I just didn't come down that often. I had no reason to come through here. Just over in that direction, you've got Daehakno, which is kind of a little popular spot with university students. Well, further up along Daehakno. But this street here, this is called Changgyeong-gung-ro. Changgyeong Palace is just up the street. And I've never been inside Changgyeong Palace. In fact, I don't think I even knew it was there for the first several years I was here in Korea. And it was never on my radar. I knew about all the other palaces, I just didn't know about this one. So yeah, I never really had much reason to come up this way. Now, where I'm taking you right now, we are going to turn left off of this street. So I'm going to show you something that is pretty cool, that it seems like not a whole lot of people know about yet. Here we are. This is the street here. This is called Yulgogno. Yulgok Street. And if you've been to Central Seoul, to Anguk Station or Changdok Palace, Changdok-gung, then you've been to Yulgok-ro. Anguk Station and Changdok Palace, they're both further up ahead, but just on the other side of these cars over here, that is Changgyeong Palace. And up ahead of us here, we've got a tunnel. You can see it right there. Yulgok Tunnel. Now, the thing about this tunnel is it just opened 2 years ago. And it was not constructed for the vehicular traffic, because before this tunnel was constructed, this street, Yulgok-ro, was already here. And what they built this tunnel for is for what is on top of it. And that's what we're going to go look at right now. They have an elevator, but who needs to use the elevator when there's a good flight of steps, huh? Now, I can't tell you what this area looked like before that tunnel was constructed. I just don't remember. Before it was constructed, I probably came through here. You know, you could probably count the number of times on one hand. And I just have no memory of what it looked like down there before the tunnel went up. But probably should have looked at the street view on Google Map or something, or Naver Map, before I came out here. But like I said, vehicular traffic wasn't the reason this tunnel was constructed. This was the reason they built the tunnel. So this is somewhat of a kind of restoration project. It was first conceived in 2011 by the Seoul mayor at the time. And the goal was kind of to restore the connection between Changgyeong Palace over here to my right on the north side and Jongmyo. Jongmyo is a shrine right here on my left, the south side. Now, I've talked about Jongmyo before in my video about Sewon Plaza, which is just across the street from the front entrance on the opposite side of the shrine, the grounds of the shrine here. This is the back side we're on right now. And you see they're doing some work here. I guess they're rebuilding the wall. So the story here is that this used to be a heavily wooded area between Changgyeong Palace and Jongmyo. And, you know, the royals or whoever had access to the palace could come out of the palace gate on this side and go into the shrine gate on this side. But the Japanese occupation government in 1932 destroyed all of that when they built Yulgok-ro, Yulgok-no, to connect this central area around where Anguk Station is now and Cheongdok Palace with this Changgyeong Palace Street over here behind us. And so the walls, the north wall of Jongmyo and I guess the south wall of Changgyeong Palace were both destroyed in the process. So this tunnel project was just kind of to restore that. And it's, you know, you can't really call it a restoration. It's more symbolic than anything else, right? It's just a symbol of what was here before. But you can imagine, you see how wooded that area is over there on the other side. And you can imagine how this whole place used to be heavily wooded back then. And you can see that the wall here is new, but this is the original. These are the remains of the original. And this is one of the things that makes this one of my favorite spots to walk these days. I had no idea that this was here until I just stumbled upon it maybe, I don't know, a month and a half ago. These are the archaeological remains of this stone enclosure wall that surrounded Jongmyo, the royal ancestral shrine of the Joseon dynasty. This section of the wall was located to the west of Jongmyo Shrine's northern gate, which was often used by the Joseon kings on their way from the palace to perform ancestral veneration rituals. These gates do close, I think the sign said 8 p.m. So if you're here and you want to come through, you should do it before then. Yeah, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. But yeah, I don't know. This is just one of my favorite spots to walk through. And usually when I come through here, I take my time and just, walk at a very slow pace. Something about this just sits well with me. Part of it is because it's so quiet, because I just see very few people up here. But another part of it is, the remains of that wall. That's the kind of thing, it almost gives me the same kind of sense that I get when I see like old Roman ruins in Europe, or the remains of the ruins of like St. Augustine's Abbey in Canterbury. These are things that were just there, just sitting there. They haven't been restored. They haven't been repaired. And they're just there the way somebody left them hundreds of years ago. And it's the same thing with that little section of wall that was there. I just get that same sense, that same connection to history that is so rare here in Seoul, because so much of what is standing of the past is reconstructed, like this wall, right? Even the palaces, the old palaces, they're reconstructions. They were destroyed to one degree or another over time through different fires and wars and occupation. And the fun continues. So we are now on the west wall, outside the west wall of Jongmyo. And this street here in the last couple of years has been kind of growing up a little bit with coffee shops and restaurants and bars. And jewelry shops too, actually. And the thing is, just on the other side of the street here, just in the interior, you've got these old hanok places, right? And if we get off of this street and go back in those alleyways, you can see you don't have all the shops and cafes like you have out here on the street. And I'll show you that in just a minute. But this place has never been overly crowded the few times I've come through here. I mean, when I come through here during the day, there are very few people at all usually. And I've come through here at least one time at night in the evening, it was around 7 o'clock or so. And Some of these places were quite busy, but the street was not crowded. And now we are going to cut out of here and head a little further west, just across the street up here to Ikseondong, Hanok Village. Now, this is a touristy kind of place, not just with foreign tourists, but also with local tourists. And it's also a popular, what they call date course, where young couples like to come on dates. And there's a lot of stuff here, a lot of these cafes I just haven't tried. I think my wife and I had ice cream here at one place that was really good, and we've had it a couple times now, but I don't think we've tried anything else in terms of, you know, what's here in the actual Hanoks. Now, the thing is, this plot of land where all these Hanoks are, and by the way, a Hanok is a traditional style house. In case you didn't know, this is one of them. You see this old roof here. Now, unfortunately, you know, it's been converted into a restaurant. All these glass windows there replacing the wall that was there before. And when I say unfortunately, well, I guess there's some disappointment in what some of the companies that develop these places, redevelop these places, kind of destroyed too much of the interiors to make way for all the shops that they wanted to bring in. And so that's just the way it goes, I guess. But yeah, this plot of land used to be it used to be the grounds of a small palace, a small royal residence. I guess in the 1920s, it was sold to a guy who tore it down and developed all these Hanok buildings as residences for just, you know, average people. And so from that time through the 2000s, the early 2000s, that's what was here. Just all of these hanoks were just residences. People lived in them. There's another roof here. And I remember I walked through here once before all of this came in. I don't know if it was the late 90s or the early 2000s. I don't recall exactly, but I remember being surprised just finding all these old residences right here in the middle of Chongno district, right? Having seen what it looked like before and having seen what it looks like now, honestly, I like the old, the old view better. It was just a quiet, very quiet neighborhood of old hanoks. Now, I don't remember the buildings looking that bad, but apparently they had pretty significantly deteriorated. I guess there might have been a lot of problems with the interior, maybe with the roofing. I don't know. And when I did come through here, it was at night, so I didn't, have such a clear view. But I do remember that, this is, it's just bricks. This kind of bricks, the red bricks or brown, dark brown bricks, is what everything was all through these streets. And now you've got all these, big windows and cutaway walls and all this other stuff. But what happened was in the early 2000s, around 2003 or so, the Seoul government started talking about just tearing everything down here because all the hanoks were in such bad condition apparently, and they were just going to develop the area, redevelop it. But that plan kind of stalled for over a decade. And I don't know all the details. I assume that, some of those groups that fight to preserve hanoks probably had something to do with it. They were probably in that fight. They usually are. And then in 2018, the government said, okay, they dropped their plans for redevelopment, permanently dropped them in favor of preservation. But by that point, it was kind of too late because commercial developers had already moved in and started buying up the properties and gutting the interiors to make room for the restaurants and cafes and everything that are here now. So I do like walking through here because it's I just love the atmosphere, even though it is so commercialized now, even though it is a very touristy area, and it's very different from any of the other hanok villages that you'll walk through. Like Bukchon Hanok Village, it's just the residences and people still live there. But this is just overly commercial. It's completely commercial. But despite that, I still enjoy it. I still enjoy coming through here. But like I said, I haven't tried out a lot of the places here, haven't done any shopping here. I just walk through, and I found out not too long ago that it's really lovely at night. So that's the best time to walk through here is just after sunset, I think. But the main reason I come through here sometimes is not just to walk through it, because there is a restaurant nearby that my wife and I absolutely love that serves kalguksu, and that's where we're going now. So my wife and I came down here a few years ago when all this hype about Ikseongdong was coming to us through acquaintances and Facebook and Instagram or whatever, and we wanted to check it out and see what's down here. So we came in through here and we walked around and we stumbled on this kalguksu restaurant. We were hungry. It looked interesting because we could see that they were making the noodles right there in the kitchen, and we thought, all right, we've got to go try this place. We did, and we fell in love. Now, I will forewarn you, this is not the best kalguksu you're going to get in Seoul. It is not the best thing ever, but we enjoy it, we love it, and we love the atmosphere, I guess, of the restaurant. It's one of those little old hole-in-the-wall places, and it's been here for almost 40 years now. I think they opened in 1988, and we brought her parents here, and her parents loved it too. So I think we've brought her mother back a couple times since then. Now, not everybody I bring here likes it as much as we do, but I recommend trying it out at least if you've got the time while you're visiting Korea. And here it is right here. Jongno Galguksu. Okay, so they've got kalguksu, which is the, everybody translates it as knife cut noodles, which, okay, that works, I guess. And they also have mandu, dumplings, and manduguk, which is dumpling soup, and what they call kalmanduguk, which is kalguksu with a couple of dumplings inside of it. So you have, different options while you're here. It's not just kalguksu. So I typically order the kalmanduguk, which is what I've ordered this time. So they're making it right now, and you can see them in the kitchen. And yeah, this is an old place. Kind of dingy, but this is exactly the kind of place where you'll get the best food. Yeah. All the little hole-in-the-wall restaurants I used to go to, the kind I'm always looking for, they're just dingy and old-looking like this. Those are always the ones I'm looking for. So she just brought my kimchi out. Right here, got some cabbage kimchi, and this is for my dumplings. So when they bring the soup out, it's really hot, so you can take the dumpling out and put it here, let it cool off a little bit before you bite into it. And we got more kimchi here if we want it, and we got this sauce that we can put into the kalguksu. It's kind of a pepper sauce, so if we want to put it in the soup, we can. And sometimes I even put it on my dumplings. So, all right, it has arrived. And here it is. Now, we've got the noodles and we've got the dumplings. And you see, this is the kimchi mandu, kimchi dumpling. And this, I guess, is pork. So what I'm going to do is take the pork one out and put it here to let it cool off for a bit. I'm going to put a bit of this stuff in my noodles. Mix it all up a little bit. Now, one thing you might see Koreans do sometimes is take kimchi and wrap it up with the noodles and eat it with the noodles. I'm not that agile with my chopsticks, I think. Wow, look at that steam. It's just so hot. Okay, that was a potato. This has potatoes in it, and you've got your green onions, and you've got your seaweed. That potato just crumbled in my mouth. Very happy right now. I'm going to finish this, and I'll see you on the other side. All right, I killed it. all the noodles, all the mandu, and I am stuffed. And I guess actually the name of this place isn't just Chongno Kalguksu, it's Chongno Halmoni Kalguksu. Halmoni is granny, grandma, so it's Chongno Granny Kalguksu. Oh man, I am stuffed. That was really filling, really good. You know, you see that bowl of noodles and you start eating it and you just don't expect it to be as filling as it is. But every time I come here, I get stuffed. It's just, oh, one bowl. I probably shouldn't eat the whole thing. And after eating all of that, I probably shouldn't go get dessert, but I don't want to disappoint you. So, you know, I'll take one for the vlog. All right, so I'm just gonna make my way back out to Jongno here and turn left, which is east, and head back over toward Jongno Oga and Gwangjang Market. Just a straight shot once I turn left. And you know, all those jewelry shops that we saw, those little small jewelry shops that we saw next to Jongmyo earlier on that little street there, you know, they're not an anomaly. There are jewelry shops all over this part of Jongno, and you know, that street we were on earlier is just right over here on the other side of these buildings. So it's no surprise that there's a lot of jewelry shops there as well. But yeah, this has been like the jewelry street for years and years and years, longer than I've been here. All right, and now we are on the front side of Jongmyo. Well, the park portion of it anyway. The shrine entrance is off in that direction there. And right over here we've got Sewon Plaza, Sewon Sangha. Yeah, here we go. Here's the entrance. And one of these days I will take you in there. I have yet to go in myself. All right, I know that time is meaningless to you watching this video. Time within this video is meaningless to you as you watch it, but just like that, we are at the intersection diagonal to Gwangjang Market. Gwangjang Market's right over there. And we're just gonna cut right down there, and behind it, over by Cheonggye Stream, to the little dessert place. If you saw my video about Sewon Plaza, this is the construction site where they're uncovering the foundations of the old Joseon era buildings and streets, which was pretty cool to look at. In the video I did before this one, where I talked about 4 ways Korea has changed since the 90s, I walked along Cheonggyecheon here, Cheonggyecheon Street. I don't know if I was in this specific section or not. I think I was filming further down, but it was on a Sunday and all the shops were closed. But this is what it looks like when all the shops are open. Well, not all the shops were closed. Some of them, a few of them were open, but this is what it looks like normally. So the place we're going to is the Abebe Bakery, and they have this space here. I think this is where they make their donuts. This is the baking room. The spot where you buy them is further on up the street just a little bit. And their big thing is donuts, and not just any donuts. Now, I am kind of sick and tired of Krispy Kreme and Dunkin' Donuts. They just don't do it for me anymore. And I've been trying, you know, different kinds of donuts. in the last couple of years, and I've kind of settled on, I had kind of settled on Old Fairy, which I think are pretty good. They're really big. They're not as sweet as I would have expected them to be. They're just a little pricey. But then when I found a Bebe, I was like, oh no, you've got me, baby. Yeah, this place, they make their donuts with chapsal, which is the glutinous rice flour. And so they're already a little different from normal donuts. And they look thicker in this picture than they actually are when you eat them. And they've got two kinds of donuts, basically. They've got this kind you see here in these pictures where they just, it's just a thin donut shell with a lot of filling on the inside. And then they have another kind, which is almost like a big cookie, right? It's like this, and it's got cream there in the middle, but the bottom and the top are very thick. And it's like chapsal tok. Tok is the rice cake, right? But this is like rice, it's very, it's thicker, and it's got like the beans in it, right? The red beans. And it's good. So I'm gonna buy one of each. I'm not gonna eat both. Not gonna happen. But I'm gonna buy a regular donut and one of those chapsal cookie looking things. And I'm probably gonna eat the donut. Now they have several different flavors of the donuts. They've got peanut, they've got vanilla, they've got Earl Grey, they've got salted caramel, all kinds of stuff. They're all good. I have not found a bad one yet. I've tried pretty much, I think I've tried all of them by now, maybe. Not 100% sure. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna go in and get one, and then I'll show it to you on the other side. All right, now these cream-filled donuts, they are a mess to eat even with two hands when I'm walking. So I've come down here to the stream to demonstrate. But before I get to that, look at this thing. I hate that it's getting smushed up against the bag here, but oh wow. Look at this. Okay. So you see, this is kind of folded. I mean, it's like a filled cookie, I guess. It's just folded over. And this is the chapsal tok. And oh man, I don't want to take a bite of this because I'm gonna just take it home and put it in the refrigerator for later. And if you take a bite out of it, that part gets hard, I guess, crusted over. And this is going to be for my wife. So yeah, that one is really good refrigerated. It's cold right now. And the cream, I got an apple flavor, so the cream has an apple taste to it, but it's also got little bits of, I don't know, candied apples. They're soft bits of sweet apples, and oh, it's so good. And the bread has that red bean in it. But this is the main attraction today. This is one I actually haven't tried. This is their dark chocolate cream filled. They had another one there, a couple of others I hadn't tried, actually, the green tea and the sweet potato. And I guess they rotate the flavors out sometimes. I'm sure I've seen those before, but I'd forgotten about them. But they didn't have some that I'd had before, like coconut and the salted caramel. So anyway, yeah, there are still a few flavors I haven't tried, but I'm about to rectify that with this dark chocolate. And this is what I mean by being a mess. Look at that. That powder just gets everywhere. If I eat one of these while I'm walking, I get powder all down my shirt. All right. Now, so far, my experience with these have been that they are just packed full of cream. And when you bite into them, it doesn't squirt out the sides, right? You may get a little bit of breakage, you know, you may get a little bit of cream leaking out, but it doesn't ever squirt out, right? So you're not gonna make a mess that way. The big danger here is just this powder, the coating on the outside. But, Oh no, I got powder all down my bag. Okay. Look at all that cream, and you see this white rim around the edge. That is the chop sao dough. Oh my goodness. This is just so good. You know, you can buy these packaged chop sao donuts, I guess. And they're just chop sao with like something in the middle, I guess usually red bean. And my wife loves those. I like them. They're really good. But this is just so much better. And I think, I didn't pay attention to the price. I think this was 2,900 won. And the other one, the apple thing, those thicker chop sao donut things, chop sao dok things, they are a little more expensive. They're like 3,000 something. So, yeah. Oh, this is good. Their vanilla, I tried their vanilla and it didn't have, I didn't taste vanilla, right? It was kind of bland. I just had the texture of the cream and that's it. But all the others that I've tried so far, whatever flavor it is, you can taste that flavor, and this dark chocolate taste really comes through in this cream. So, yeah. And the great thing is, these are not so sweet. Now, this other one, this apple thing here, this is actually sweet. More sweet than this, let's put it that way. So, if you're looking for some, you know, a different kind of donut that doesn't taste like the traditional kind of donut that you're familiar with, then gosh, this is so good. Even if you're not looking for it, try this and you're gonna wish you had been looking for it. I'm telling you, this is just so good. Wow. So I am gonna finish this off. I don't want to look like a pig in front of the camera. And thanks for watching, thanks for liking, thanks for subscribing, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.